for the people who are perennial hard chargers,
Yep.
how do you advise them to just relinquish a little?
I think of everything in terms of cost, right? And like I always say, what's the cost of this? Always. So what is the cost of being a high achiever? What is the cost of working constantly? What is the cost of putting all that pressure on yourself? Just weigh the cost. My relationships struggle. I beat myself up. Sometimes I can't sleep because my brain doesn't shut off. Just like be really honest about the costs of all of that. I don't know how to relax. Okay, that's the cost. Now, maybe you've earned some of it to go the other way. So maybe you've earned the right to lie in bed till noon just because. And if you need to make it an equation, I earned this. You use the analogy of deposits and withdrawals. Like you've made so many deposits, you can withdraw a little me time. You've earned this, right? It's like think of it if you were a leader and one of your teammates works all weekend voluntarily to get a project done on time, right? You're going to say thank you. You're going to be like, great job. We couldn't have done this without you. And then you're going to say, if you're a good leader,
take Monday off.
Why don't you take Monday or Tuesday off to get your weekend back? You've earned it. I'm not asking you to pay a cost that I'm not willing to compensate you for. You gave me 2 days, I'll give you 2 days. May not be consecutively, but I'll give you back your weekend. Thank you. That gesture will make somebody feel seen and heard, and they will give you many weekends knowing that you're willing to keep the equation balanced. If you never give them their time back and now they're just working 7 days a week, they will either burn out or they will quit. So if we know that another person will burn out or quit if they maintain that pace without grace, then how come, and it goes right back to yourself, managing yourself, lead yourself. You got to give yourself that time off because that's the deal you make. If you're the friend to yourself and if you lead yourself, that's what you do for somebody else. That's what you do. Well, I'm not other people and I have, no, you are. You might have a little more grit than somebody else, but you don't have endless amounts of it.
When it comes to the purpose and meaning point, how do you advise people to manage the transition if a why that previously motivated them and fulfilled them starts to fall away? You mentioned yourself, there's this sort of sense of shame, guilt, of concern, wistfulness, I would imagine. Like, this used to be my thing.
Yeah.
And now you're telling me that the thing that gave me loads of positive reinforcement isn't my thing anymore.
Yeah.
And I have to go and find a new thing? That sounds pretty terrifying. So how do people who have lost fulfillment in their why cope with that transition?
Very simple answer. That was never their why to begin with. People confuse goals with purpose. It happens all the time. You see it in companies' vision statements. To be the best. That's not a vision. That's a goal. By the way, based on what metric that you chose. Right? So sometimes we have goals that drive us and they're exciting. But then what? And you see this very often with high achievers. So let's take extreme examples, right? Olympic athletes. It's just an extreme example. They're very goal-oriented and they've confused their goal with their purpose. My purpose is to win the Olympics. I love how they say that. I'm going to win the Olympics. Nobody wins the Olympics. That actually is there's no medal for winning the Olympics, right? But that's how they all talk. I'm going to win the Olympics, right? And all of their lives are completely architected around this goal. All of their relationships, are you useful? All of their sacrifices, I missed Thanksgiving, I missed birthdays, I missed all of these things because I'm disciplined. And let's say they achieve it. Let's give them the success. They win a gold medal in the Olympics. And now they're too old to compete. Their bodies are broken, whatever it is. Now what? Now what? And what you find, like Andre Agassi becomes the most storied tennis player in all time. What happens right after he retires? Depression. Michael Phelps becomes the most medaled Olympian in history. What happens right after he retires? Depression. My friend who her entire goal of her entire life from Fargo, North Dakota was to be on Broadway and become a New York City Rockette. She achieved both those things. She became a New York City Rockette and she became a performer on Broadway. What happened right afterwards when she retired? Depression. We've confused a goal with purpose. A goal is one of the ways, even if it's extreme, one of the ways in which we are looking to advance our purpose. But a purpose is immutable. A purpose does not change. Your purpose is fully formed by the time you're in your mid to late teens. Who you are is fully formed by the time you're in your mid to late teens, and the rest of your life is looking for opportunities to bring that cause to life. Right? Very common, and particularly in high achievers. And they confuse their jobs with their purpose, with their identity, right? So you see these high flyers who literally are afraid of not working because who am I if I'm not doing this thing? And they've forgotten that the thing you're doing is just one of the ways you can bring your purpose to life. So my why, my purpose is not to write books. My why is not to achieve some goal with some TED Talk over which I have no control. My why is to inspire people to do the things that inspire them. That's why I get out of bed in the morning. That is permanent for the rest of my life till the day I die. Now, what are the opportunities that I can do that? Some of them big, some of them small, some of them risky, some of them not. And I can have goals that motivate me in the middle of that. But if I pick a goal that's just for the money or just for the accomplishment or whatever, odds are the stress is going to be far greater than the reward because it doesn't contribute to my purpose. And that raises the second question, which is, how do I know when to quit? And some people have this false belief that grit is the thing that makes you, and you never quit. That's stupid. It is just as stupid as to say you always quit whenever it gets difficult. Both are the wrong mentality. My test is very simple. Does the sacrifice feel worth it? If the sacrifice feels worth it, because there's some higher goal you're trying to achieve, some higher purpose, not even goal, a higher purpose you're trying to achieve, then you better show up the grit and you keep going. But if it just doesn't feel worth it anymore, it doesn't feel like I'm contributing to something bigger than myself, then it's time to move on.
This episode is brought to you by 8 Sleep. If you struggle to stay asleep because your body gets too hot or too cold, this is going to help. It automatically cools down or warms up each side of your bed up to 20 degrees. It's got integrated sensors that track your sleep time, your sleep phases, your HRV, your snoring, and your heart rate with 99% accuracy. And it'll even start cooling or heating your bed for you an hour before bedtime, which is why 8 Sleep has been clinically proven to increase total sleep by up to 1 hour every night. Sleep isn't just about how long you rest, but how well your body stays in its optimal temperature range throughout the night. And 8 Sleep has absolutely perfected this. And when I'm on the road like I am right now, it feels fucking medieval to not be sleeping on a cooled mattress topper. Best of all, they've got a 30-day sleep trial, so you can buy it and sleep on it for 29 nights. And if you don't like it, they will give you your money back, and they ship internationally. Right now, you can get $350 off by going to the link in the description below or heading to 8sleep.com/modernwisdom and using the code modernwisdom at checkout. That's EIGHT sleep.com/modernwisdom and modernwisdom at checkout. Thank you very much for tuning in. If you enjoyed that clip, the full episode is available right here. Go on. Press it.